Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe Radhe Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuntam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Other qualified devotees here in front of me, but I'm so glad to be having this opportunity. And I thought talking about consistency and maintaining goals would be perfect for today's discussion, given that the new year has recently come upon us. And we've all made New Year's resolutions, hopefully, and goals that we want to try to maintain this year to help on improving ourselves. So by a show of hands, how many of you have made New Year's resolutions this year? And how many of you have made New Year's resolutions in past years? And how many of you have been good at maintaining those resolutions all throughout the year? So we see this very sudden drop of hands when the question goes from how many of us made those resolutions to how many of us could maintain those resolutions. And so it's important to know how we can maintain those resolutions and tips and tricks on maintaining them and things we can do throughout the year to help us maintain those resolutions. The Bhagavad Gita talks about maintaining and performing our duty. And this duty is similar to the goals we set for ourselves. The goals that we set that can help on improving ourselves can be the duty. So in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 26, Krishna talks about how we can perform our duties. So please repeat after me. Mukta Sango Naham Vadi. Mukta Sango Naham Vadi. Dhriti Utsaha Samanvitaha. Dhriti Utsaha Samanvitaha. Siddhi Asiddhyor Nirvikaraha. Siddhi Asiddhyor Nirvikaraha. Karta Satvika Uchyate. Karta Satvika Uchyate. Would anyone like to say this verse? So, translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. So if we break this translation down, there are really three things that we should consider when we're performing our duties. So performing our duties similar to our goals, we should be performing them with determination and enthusiasm, without false ego, and without wavering in success or failure. So Krishna is telling us that these three elements are so important in performing our duty, which is similar to maintaining the goals that we set for ourselves for self-improvement. So if we really look at each one of these elements, we start with determination and enthusiasm. So determination and enthusiasm are extremely important in anything that we decide to do in life. If we have this determination, if we have a why power, a motivation as to why we're doing it, it's going to be much easier for us to complete that goal or action than it is if we don't have any motivation. If we have motivation to study for our test, we want good grades, then we're going to have this greater why power as to why we should study. However, if we don't care about our grades at all, if we don't have that why power to study for our tests, then we're going to have a harder time concentrating or focusing. And similar things go to work, like when we have projects. If we have no motivation to complete them, then it's going to be much harder to focus on really completing the tasks at hand. The second is without false ego. So we should really try, when performing our goals, try to perform them without this sense of pride. If devotee 1 has a goal of, I'm going to chant 8 rounds every single day, while devotee 2 has a goal of chanting 2 rounds every day, then devotee 1 shouldn't be trying to show off that they're trying to chant 6 more rounds than devotee 2. We should have this sense of, I'm doing what I can do and I can do much better. I will try to succeed, try to go to further limits. So we should always be trying to work towards reaching greater heights. And finally, we should be completing our goals, performing our duty without wavering in success or in failure. So even if we do succeed in maintaining our goals, we should still observe and analyze what we did to maintain our goals and try to repeat that again. And maybe we should try to improve on it again so that's much easier for us to maintain those goals. And if we do fail in our goals, that's completely fine because we're all human beings. We all make mistakes, and that's completely okay. It's just important that we go back and observe what we did and try to improve on that, try to fix the things that we do so that we can try to achieve our goals next time. And so these are the three elements that Krishna tells us we should use in performing our duty. And so now let's have a little example of three friends. These are three people I actually know, Shibu, Dibu, and Bilu. And so there was a New Year's Eve party. 2018 was coming to an end. Everyone was getting together. It was a nice party. And so Shibu, Dibu, and Bilu get together, They're having a nice time. They're all around the same, they're basically very similar people. They all make around 50,000. They're all married, have 2 kids. And so the conversation is, what are our goals for the new year? What are we going to do to change ourselves, to better ourselves? So Shibu goes first. Shibu says that he isn't going to make any changes in his life. He's not making any resolutions at all. He's happy with how life is going right now. And so he's going to just continue the same things that he was doing this year into 2019. And then Dibu goes next. He decides that he's going to make a couple of positive changes in his life, some small, very positive changes. He decides that he's going to eat 125 less calories every day. So that's really only about a bowl of cereal. And he says that he's going to read a little more every day, read a couple of pages of some self-improvement books, the Bhagavad Gita, before going to sleep. And he decides that he's going to take a couple extra 1,000 steps every day. So maybe when he's at work, rather than taking the elevator, he's going to take the steps, get those steps in. And finally, Bilu goes and he decides that he wants to be more of a family person. He wants to be more friendly. He wants people to like him. So he's going to get this huge 50-inch TV. He's going to try out these new recipes from the Food Network, make a lot of food for his family. And he's going to install this new bar in his living room. And he's going to try out these new drinks every month with his friends so that he has this deeper connection with them. So now 2019 comes along and it's going by. These friends are keeping up with their goals pretty consistently. And now 2019 is coming to an end. And now we're at the 2019 New Year's Eve party. And these three friends get together. And now, at the beginning of the year, they were very similar people. And now you see these huge changes in them. So let's look at Shibu. Shibu didn't really make any changes to his life. So he's the same person he was. He's not sad with how life is going. He's not happy. He's pretty okay with how life is going. Nothing's really changed for him. Now Bilu. Bilu decided at the beginning of the year he was going to get this huge TV. He's going to try out all these new recipes. He's going to install this new bar, drink a lot with his friends and stuff. And so now at the end of this year, we see that he's put on a lot more weight. He's not very happy with life. Why? Because he was trying out all these new recipes, which means that he was making all this extra food. And because he was making all this extra food, he was eating much more than he was supposed to. And so now he wasn't exercising, he was just eating. So now he was going to sleep tired, not really feeling that well. He was waking up in the morning, feel cranky, not really ready for work. And so now by the time he gets to work, he's pretty tired. He's not doing good at, he's not doing as well as he used to. His boss is very happy with him, not very happy with him, giving him these unencouraging comments. And so now Bilu is very stressed at work. And now because he's stressed at work, he's bringing all of the stress home, and it's really translating into a negative effect on his family life. He doesn't want to talk to his wife. He doesn't want to talk to his kids. He simply comes home, grabs a drink from the bar, sits down, watches some TV, and calls it a day. And so now he's fallen into this cycle of not really being the person he wanted to be at the beginning of the year. He's a completely opposite person. He's not the family person. He's not made these deeper connections with his friends that he wanted to at the beginning of the year. Then finally, Dibu. he decided to make these small positive changes in his life at the beginning of the year, and it's helped him a huge amount. He decided that he was only going to eat like less than a bowl of cereal. Like he was going to eat 125 calories each day. And so now he's eating a little less, he's exercising a little more, and these changes are really not taking up too much time in his day. He can quickly insert them into his lifestyle, and it's not really having this huge impact like, oh, I've completely changed my lifestyle. This is so new to me. It's kind of just put in there. He has an easy time maintaining it, and he's been reading a little bit about self-improvement books, the Bhagavad Gita, and so now he's trying to become a better person, and because he's trying to become a better person, he is trying to implement the things that he learns in these self-improvement books at work. And they're working. And so now at work, all his coworkers are happy with him. They want to be his friend. His boss is happy with the work that he's doing. And so now he's getting all these amazing comments. He got promoted, so now he's not making $50,000, he's making $70,000 a year. And because he's doing so well at work, now his wife, his kids, they're all so happy with him. He's doing so much better. And so now they're all inspired to do the same things that he's doing because they want to live this better lifestyle. So we want to be like Deepu. We want to make these small positive changes in our life so that we can better improve ourselves, have this self-improvement. And so what was working for Deepu was this thing called the compound effect. So the compound effect is the principle of reaping these huge rewards from a series of small and smart choices. So the results are massive, they're like huge, but the steps in the process seem pretty insignificant. So let's take, for example, a person who might want to try to lose some weight, and their goal to lose that weight is by maybe running a little every single day. So now, if they run for 1 day, that's a pretty small choice. If they run for 1 week, that's a pretty insignificant choice because you're not going to see a huge change in their weight at the end of that 1 week. However, if they continue to run every single day for 365 days, you're going to see a change in how much they weigh, and they're going to feel better about themselves. But they have to be consistent about it. And so the two most important things about that will allow the compound effect to work in our lives as well is consistency and the types of goals we set for ourselves. So consistency is obviously important in anything we decide to do, and it's similar to determination and enthusiasm. If we're consistent, we're determined, and we're enthusiastic about the goals we set for ourselves, then it's going to be much easier for us to maintain and achieve those goals, and it's going to be much easier for us to see those results then. So if the person who wanted to lose some weight by running decided that, oh, I had a rough day at work, I'm going to take today off, I'll just make it up tomorrow. And then they have more of those days. So in the end, they're running only 2 to 3 times a week because they're having so many off days. They're not going to see the results that they wanted to see at the beginning of the year because they aren't consistent about it. They might be eating a lot of junk food, they might be stress eating, and so all of this is affecting them and hindering them from really achieving their goal. And finally, the types of goals we set for ourselves are really important about in achieving our goals. So if we set goals that are huge, like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours, I'm going to run 3 miles every single day, then those are goals that we're going to feel burnt out after the first 2 or 3 weeks if we last that long. The goals we should set for ourselves should be ones that are small and smart choices. The small and smart choices should be something that we can easily insert into our life without really having to have this huge effect on everything else. So if we go back to what Deepu was doing, he was eating 125 calories less, which isn't really a huge change in life. He was reading a couple of pages of self-improvement books, the Gita, at night. Again, not a huge change. It's not taking up a lot of time of his day. And he was taking a couple extra thousand steps, maybe taking the steps rather than the elevator. Again, not a huge change. But in the end, we saw that all of these smart choices, smart and small choices, had this huge impact on how he was living and his lifestyle at the end. So our goals should be smart, and they should be simple, and they should be small. Because if we want to work towards that huge goal at the end of the year, then we should break it down into smaller goals so that it seems much more doable. Because if we decide that we're going to, yes, run 3 miles every day, we might be able to do that for 2 weeks, perhaps. But at the 3rd week, when we really start to struggle for it, we're not going to feel motivated to continue running those 3 miles. And when we don't feel motivated to run those 3 miles, then we're going to stop. And in the end, we're going to go back to the same lifestyle that we were living the year before. And so similar thing goes to Krishna consciousness. When we are chanting our rounds, we should make sure to start small and then start to work bigger. So maybe we start with 1 round, then we go to 2 rounds, then 3 rounds, then 4. Because if we start immediately with those 16 rounds, we forget one day, then we have to do so many extra rounds the next day. We're gonna feel, we're not gonna feel so motivated to do it because we're like, I have so many things to do in my life with school and work and this and that it's so hard to complete all these rounds now. And then you're gonna end up not doing it consistently. So if we start small and start working bigger, it'll help us so much more. And so making these small and smart choices that have these impacts on multiple areas of our life are called the ripple effect. And so the ripple effect is basically the idea that a goal we set for ourselves is meant to only really affect one aspect of our life, but then ends up affecting so many other aspects of our life. So if we look at Deepu, he decided that he was going to read a couple of pages of self-improvement books, Bhagavad Gita, at the end of the day. Now, he was trying to implement this stuff into his life and into his work life. And so because he was implementing it into his work life, he got a promotion. And because he got that promotion, now his family is happy with him. So now just reading a couple of pages of those books not only affected his work life, but they also affected his home life. And now he's a generally much more happy and content person than he was at the beginning of the year. So to make these smart choices, it's really simple to make these smart choices, and to really summarize everything that we want in a goal, we can follow this acronym of SMART. So each letter stands for a specific thing that should be in our goal. So the S stands for specific. If we're specific about the goals that we set for ourselves, then it'll be much easier for us to maintain those goals. If we simply say that, oh, I want to lose some weight, but we only lose 1 pound by the end of the year, we've achieved our goal, but are we really happy with what we've achieved? We've only lost 1 pound. But if we're specific, if we say, I want to lose 10 pounds in 6 months, then we have this goal of we know exactly what to do in those 6 months to achieve that goal. The M stands for measurable. So we should be able to measure our progress to see if we are actually maintaining our goals. If we say that we want to improve on our grades at school, then to measure that, if we say that we want to study and get better grades, we can measure our progress by seeing how well we're doing in school. If we're doing the same as we were before, then clearly we still need to improve on something and work on our habits to really get better grades. And if we are getting better grades, then it's good to observe what we are doing and continue to implement that so that we can continue maintaining our goal. The next two, A and the R, kind of go together. The A stands for attainable and the R stands for realistic. So if our goals are attainable and realistic, it's going to be much easier for us to maintain them. If we say that we're going to run 3 miles every day, that's not very realistic if we're thinking about it, because we have other things to worry about. We have to worry about school, we have to worry about work, we have to worry about our family. We have so many things to worry about that setting aside so many hours in our day to run 3 miles might seem okay in the beginning, but in the end it might be much harder. So if we make sure to make these smart choices which are attainable and realistic, it'll be much more, it'll be better for us to maintain these goals. And finally, time bound. We should have a time limit set to the goals that we try to maintain, because if we don't have this time limit set, then we could say that we're going to continuously try to lose weight for the next 10 years, and it never happens because we never set that time limit. So if we set this time limit of going back to I'm going to try to lose 10 pounds in 6 months, then we might check in at the 3-month mark and be like, have I lost 5 pounds? Because I'm halfway through my goal. So setting these time limits and checking in on ourselves to see if we're really making any progress on our goals is an important part, because if we don't make any progress and we don't know that we're not making any progress, then by the end of the year, we're going to realize that we did not maintain our goal. And so finally, to summarize everything, the secret formula to having these radical positive differences that Deepu was experiencing in his life, there are 3 important factors. So there's consistency, smart choices, and time. So consistency, obviously, as we've established, is extremely important. We have to be determined, enthusiastic, as Krishna says, and we have to be consistent with the goals we set for ourselves. And we have to make these smart choices. So we just went over SMART goals. So smart choices would be similar to that. If we make these smart, simple choices for ourselves, then it's going to be much easier for us to just quickly insert them into our day-to-day life and maintain them. And finally, time. We have to understand that any goals we set for ourselves will have results, but those results won't come immediately. We have to give them some time. If we go back to the example of the person who's trying to lose weight while trying to run, they aren't going to see the results immediately over 1 week. If they continuously run for that 1 whole year, 365 days, they're going to see that huge difference in their weight, and they're going to see that their goal was achieved. But that is if they were consistent. So we have to get the mindset out of our head that we're going to see results immediately. We have to give them time. And so combining these 3 factors will make these huge positive differences in our life. And so with that, I'm going to conclude this discussion. I really hope that something I've mentioned in this class will be helpful to you in maintaining your goals in the new year. And I hope that all of you are successful in maintaining your resolutions. And I'll be here in 1 year, and we can discuss if you've maintained your resolutions or not, and we can look into the process, and maybe I can be of some help. But I really want to thank the management for giving the youth this opportunity to take a bigger part in the Sunday program and really play a role. And I hope you can forgive me for any mistakes I've made during this class. Haribol.
Haribol! Haribol!
What's your New Year's resolution?
What's your New Year's resolution?
Oh no. Okay, well, my New Year's resolutions were to track really where I'm wasting my time, and to do that, I'm going to be writing in a notebook every time I go on my phone, and at the end of each day, I'm going to add up how much time I'm spending on my phone, and every single day, I'm going to try to reduce that time to be less and less and less. And I'm going to try to stop wasting my time and use it on more useful things that will help me.
Thank you, Keshav. That was wonderful. So, how would you do that? And why do you think that you should try to reduce the time on the phone?
I think the problem with phones is that when we start with one thing, then we get a message from another friend, or we see, oh, my friend has posted, let me check out that. And then we end up scrolling through like Instagram or Snapchat or something for so many hours, and you start at 5 o'clock and then you realize it's 11 o'clock and you're like, oh, it's time for bed. So I think really like managing your time is just such an important part, because then there's so many other productive things that you can do, such as chanting, learning more about Krishna, doing other things that you have to finish. And so to do that, I'm going to be writing every time I go on my phone in my notebook.
Second question.
Yeah.
So, how would you reduce the time? You are going to track it, but what would you do so that you are not spending as much time on the phone?
So by writing down every time I go on my phone, I can track the times that I'm going on my phone and what I'm doing on my phone. So if I have this time of, I see myself going on my phone every time at lunch, 12:30, then maybe it's a good idea for me to turn off my phone or put my phone away somewhere where I know that I'm not gonna really touch it. And it's also a self-control thing. We have to really also work hard and maintain that consistency. So it's really up to us to maintain those goals.
Haribol Keshav, it was a wonderful class, and I was very surprised to see that the definition of a SMART goal, what you have put here, we actually use it in software development word as well.
Oh.
So yes, and so my question was, you very well defined that how we should define our goal. It should be specific, measurable, and all of those features. But how do we stay consistent with that goal?
Okay, well, it also really just comes down to having control of ourselves. We also have to have this why power, this motivation to to achieve that goal. If we don't have motivation to achieve a goal of, maybe our goal is I want to do better in school. But if I don't have any motivation to do better in school, then I'm not going to really work hard to get better grades. But if I have a motivation of, my parents might be angry if I do bad in school, I should try harder, then I'm going to study a little harder, I'm going to try to get better grades. So if we have a why power, why are we trying to do this goal, then it'll be much easier to stay consistent with our goals.
Thank you.